Okay, a very good afternoon. We will continue with the treatment part where we left. We're still with the substance use disorder, and uh, we are in the treatment modalities, and then we will do the nursing management. Now, the nursing management we will be hopefully I'll be able to complete today. Let's see, we will complete the treatment modalities first. So let's go to the slides. We're done with this. In the last class, we had stopped on the MET, what motivational enhancement therapy is all about, and let's just review the basic principles and we will see why it is important. So the basic principles of motivational enhancement therapy, if you will see the research articles, if you will see many literature, mostly they will see, you will see MET and CBT, all about the effect of MET and why MET is the latest good use therapy that we use for substance, be it alcohol, be it other substance use, which we will be dealing afterwards. Now, the five basic principles which governs or which is the main foundation of MET are to express empathy. They need a lot of substance, or alcoholics or substance use patient needs a lot of empathy. And then developing discrepancy, we need to avoid argumentation, and throughout there will be a lot of resistance, but we should not give up. The MET does not give up even if there's resistance. There will be a lot of arguing, there will be a lot interrupting is there, denying is there, ignoring is there, but we need to roll with all these resistance. Now, and we need to support self-efficacy. Self-efficacy means we need to support, we need to enhance from the meaning itself. See, from the name itself, motivational. We motivate them, and some of them needs a lot of motivation, some they have a little bit of motivation. We need to enhance those, right? And as much as possible we need to support self-efficacy, because at the end of the day it is the client themselves who has to deal with the addiction problem and who has to come out of it. I told you initially there needs to be they need to be willing to go. See, the change model, they need to be willing to change. Willingness has to be there. They need to understand, they need to be aware that substance is not right, and it is the abuse of it is causing a lot of harm to them. We have seen those phases which Jelinek have given. So all these, when they have, they will, all these will be in the pre-contemplation phase. So the minute they are in this phase, the pre-contemplation, that means they are ready for change. Now, just because they are ready for change, it does not mean that they will be able to enter the change model, and they don't need any assistance. Okay, so they go to the next phase, which is the contemplation. From the contemplation, they begin to sing, and then the actions in the contemplation, that means everything is, I will stop, I will do this, I will change, right, all that. And then they go to the next phase as they are more motivated and more, and the motivational is being enhanced, and their determination and them also takes place, right? And then they stay away, or they go for the abstinence from the substance, and then after they have been through all that detoxification phase, the all those phase which they come, usually for them they take a 90 days, some 120 days. It depends from individual to individual. Now we have to understand that in each of these phases, okay, in each of these phases or in each of these stages of change, there is a possibility, or there is a high chance of them going out, that means, or slipping, Right now, why do they slip and why do they go out and why do they come out of this motivation or to stop the addiction process? Right now, we have seen the all those predisposing factors. We have seen what it does to the human body. You have to understand this because the body is so used to reward, and every day a person lives in the society, and every day a person has to handle with the psychological stressors, with the social stressors, and the biological, and every day he has to again undergo all this. He has to exist, right? So daily there will be triggering events or there will be triggering stressor. Now they are so used to their coping that if they stress they will drink. Right, either they will take the substance because of the good effect, the rewarding effect that they give. So now they are coming out from that. So they have to learn to go into a new way, a new strategies, a new coping stress, right? To cope with the stress, new coping skills. Now, in the process, change is never easy. Right. And especially when the body or the mindset is so conditioned, to recondition them and to recondition their thinking, to change their behavior, they need to change on their cognition. Once their cognition is changed, definitely it will change in their behavior, but this takes steps. That's why throughout we know that every step there are stages that the patient will slip back. That's why we dwell and we teach them relapse prevention. Okay, now every point we have seen, there is a possibility that a person will relapse, right? From as soon as they enter in the pre-contemplation phase. So how do we help them to stay motivated, or how do we enhance their motivation? So one is, now let's see what all is there in relapse prevention. Relapse prevention is a cognitive behavioral therapy that was developed for the treatment of problem drinking. Now, relapse prevention is each and every person, they drink because of many factors and they have their cognition, right? So they need CBT. MET and CBT is hand in hand. CBT is cognitive behavior therapy. Now let's see the word here. CBT, cognitive. Cognitive is their thinking. Cognitive is how they perceive. Cognitive is how they see things, right? And that automatic thinking, the cognition part, the thinking part, all this is in the cognition. Now, behavior, this, let's see this, behavior is whatever the person thinks, the result of their thinking, their perception, they behave that way. Now, to change the patient's behavior, we know that the person is in the yeah. Let's see. The person wanted to quit the addiction or to quit the substance use because he wanted change. Now, to bring about a change, to bring about a change in the behavior, to bring about the change in the behavior of a person, we need to change the cognition. Now, CBT, that means those deeply rooted thinking, deeply seated cognition, they're the condition, they have already conditioned their mind, and this we always do this. They all day they have their own zones. We all of us have our own thinking, and every thinking drives or motivate us to do, right? So to change in the behavior, we need to change thinking. So that's why this is called cognitive behavior therapy. So to bring about a change in behavior, we need to change the thinking. Now, so the problem with the substance is, if we want them to understand, to change or to quit the substance use, definitely we need to work, or we need to change their cognition, their perception. Now, the second point, it can be used as a standalone treatment or as a component of a more comprehensive treatment program. Sometimes just CBT is enough, right? It can be used only as CBT with different stages and different phases and different steps. Now, what do they do here? I will do this a bit in detail. Now, what do they do here? Okay, in CBT, cognition. What is the cognition of a person? Cognition is how do they learn to communicate? What have they learned to cope? Okay, what have they learned to face or to handle their stress, right? And how have they learned to communicate? And then how have they learned to relate? All the behavior that the person do or the action is all because of the learned behaviors of a person, right? So you can bring about a change either just exclusively just by putting a person on CBT, or it is used as a component with other comprehensive treatment program like diet therapy, like other OT, then occupational therapy, then physiotherapy, right? And so other comprehensive treatment program. Now, the third one, it can be used in inpatient or community-based outpatient settings, right? So relapse, we have to teach them about relapse prevention. Now, let's continue. Now, relapse prevention provides individuals with several cognitive behavioral strategies that facilitate abstinence and provide help to people who experience relapse. Now, any person who abuse or use substance is a candidate or is a prospect uh, relapse person. Okay. Please mark my words. Anyone who have used, who have gone up to a stage of dependence, why did they come again up to this stage? It is because they have reached a phase which is the crucial chronic phase, or where on their own they cannot. They need to come out of this substance use, and they want to change, right? So what happened here? So over here, relapse prevention provides what? Several cognitive behavioral strategies. I told you on the CBT, what do they do? It combines behavioral skill training. See the next point. Behavioral skill training, cognitive intervention, and lifestyle change procedures. Right. So behavioral skill training behavioral skill training, that means if a person is used in doing things this way, so in CBT or in relapse prevention, or what do? They teach them better change in their skill. Okay, that means if they have maladaptive coping skills, they teach them better adaptive skills. If they have poor communication skills, they are not able to express the stress, they are not able to ventilate. That's why they drink so much to kill up the stress or to handle the stress. We teach them better cognition. If they are non-assertive, some they have very poor assertion. That means non-assertive. They can never say no. Right. So we teach them to be assertive. If they have anger issue, if they have the anger, some of them are very aggressive, right? So anger and aggression, this is the issue. That's why they resort to substance use. We teach them anger management. Right. Now, some of them, they have many stressors in life. Because of these stresses that they keep facing, it triggers them, it send them to use more of these substance. So what do? We teach them stress management. Some of them, they have very poor management skills, poor life management. They cannot manage their daily life. So we have to change, we have to teach them to change their quality or their daily life management skills. Right. So, in order to bring about a change in the behavior, each no two person is the same. Right. So, what happened in CBT? We have to try to understand over here. What do they do? Psychotherapy works here. Psychotherapy, CBT is under psychotherapy, where a person sit with the counselor or a person who help the person understand what is their what are their skills, what are their drives. I told them all the different aspects, and then they teach them how to come out of it. If it is problem with skills, teach them better skills. If it is problem with stress, teach them better stress management. If it is problem with cognition, they have poor problem solving skills, so we teach them better problem solving skills. If their quality of life is poor, they're not able to handle it, so we teach them, we help them to improve the quality of life at the optimum level. Right now, for some, they have very poor life management, either poor finance management, either poor life management, either poor what to say, management of their health. They cannot handle stress, they cannot handle so many things, so we teach them. Right, so what do we do here? From here only, once we handle these triggering factors, remember each person will have their own triggering factor. Once we handle these triggering factors that triggers them to use and continue to reuse the substance, if we teach them better skills, that means we change their cognition, definitely they will be able to, they will be more motivated, and they will be able to stay out and to abstain from use of substance. Okay, now let's see the next point. It is a primary goal to teach drug users who are trying to change behavior how to identify, anticipate, and cope with the pressures and problems that lead towards a relapse. Now, every person have to understand themselves. It is the individual responsibility. That's why when you will see the MET, the principles, you will need to raise and boost that self-efficacy. A person have to understand themselves. They have to be willing. Yes, we empathize with them. Yes, they will argue with them. Yes, they will resist with us. But we need to help them. Right. So once they learn to identify these stresses and these triggering factors that may lead them to relapse and how to deal with them, they will be able to stay motivated and abstain. Okay, now individuals are also taught cognitive avoidance and distraction strategies to enhance self-control. See, individuals are taught cognitive avoidance and distraction strategies to enhance self-control and to cope effectively with high-risk situations and stresses. Remember, go back to the biopsychosocial model. Biopsychosocial model is the everyday existential, the theory or the model. Every day we live, every day we exist. Right. And because so we have to always balance between these three realms, the biological realm, the psychological realm, and the social realm. In the process of balancing all this, in the process of everyday living, everyday fighting for our survival, fighting for our existence, we face many stresses. Right now, some situations may be which is a triggering factor. Some may be a triggering factor for some. It may be not be a triggering factor for another. Let's take a person A, B, C. Okay, what triggers A may not trigger B. What triggers B may not trigger C. Right. So what is a problem for A may not be a problem for B. So each and every one. That's why once a person goes into MET, to the addiction, we have to understand how motivated are they, and we enhance on that. And once they go to a change, yes, they will relapse in every point. So what we do, we teach them to cope with better cognition skills, and then if there is stresses, if these are the stresses that cause person A to drink, to go back into addiction, we teach them how to avoid it. If these are the stresses that teach person B, if suppose person B have very poor coping, so we teach them on coping. If suppose patient C have all of this, so we do this. Right now, how do we do? How do we know all this? We have to understand what is the cognition level, what are the cognitive factors or areas of a person, then we deal with that. Automatically, we will teach them how to change in their behavior. Thus, it will bring about in relapse prevention, and the person can stay in this level, in the maintenance level. Right. So, okay, now next. Specific techniques include exploring the positive and negative consequences of continued use. Specific, if some of the person have ended up with the cirrhosis. For some, because of continued use, there is family disharmony. So we teach them about that. For some, they have lost their jobs. So each and every, so what are the positive and negative consequences? And we teach them. So we explore so that we can help them in this area. Now next, self-monitoring to recognize drug cravings early on and to identify high-risk situation for use. Now, why do the person crave? Is it wrong to crave? Right. Do you think they will not crave? Craving will always be there. Why is craving always there in a person who takes substance? Why every time they keep coming for de-addiction, every time they go home, every time they slip, they come back? Whereas some, they don't. Right. It is because a person should understand that craving will always be there, because a person has already conditioned themselves to in this thing I do this. Okay, and I get a reward. Again, remember the reward pathway. Okay, so recognize the drug cravings early. Right, now when cravings are there, then we teach them what to do with cravings. Then we do harm reduction or relapse prevention. Right. So, and how do we avoid these stresses? And how do we avoid the triggering factor that trigger them to reuse or to go back into substance use? So, all this, each person, that's why I told you, we need to understand, we need to help them. How do they monitor? Because they themselves only know what triggers them to use. Okay, now, developing strategies for coping with and avoiding high-risk situations and the desire to use. Now, once they identify, once we have helped the person who is abusing substance, these are the problems, these are the areas which always trigger them to use. Now, or living them there, helping them to identify and just leaving them there is not, we have not done our part in helping the person to come out from addiction. Okay, so what happened here is, once we know these are the areas, right, and this is how they usually go and this is how they usually react. So what we do is that is why I told you MBT works hand in hand with CBT. Cognitive behavior therapy. So we teach them better how to respond at the cognition level itself. If they have, they have poor communication skills, we teach them to communicate better. If they have stresses to all of us will face, if they have poor stress management, we teach them better. So once we know the areas, we focus on them, and each and every person will have high risk stresses. Okay, so we tackle it with the individual and we help them how to go. Thus, the person will be able to maintain and stay at the abstinence level. Okay. So what happened here? Now let's see this. Okay, frames. The frames, FRAMES. Okay, the frames acronym. You all know about acronyms. The frames acronym described by Miller et al. In 1991 encapsulate the essential elements of such intervention. Okay, now any intervention that a person needs. Right. So the acronym Miller et al. Have given this. Okay, now let's see what is this. FRAMES. F. Feedback of personal risks of impairment through sharing of results of assessments such as cognitive tests, level function tests. Okay, now, once they have done the tests, we have seen what effect alcohol does on the body. We have seen what effect alcohol does on the different stages. Definitely, once there are changes in the biological realm, there will definitely be changes in the psychological realm and in the social realm too. Right, and we have seen the different stages that person go. So what happened after we have done the assessment? Right, most of the time we ask them cage questionnaire is there. C is do you have craving? A, do you get anger? Are you always angry? Or are you having problem with anger and aggression? Right. G, guilty. Do you always feel guilty? Right. We have seen they want to give up, but they cannot, and they go back into substance use, and afterwards they feel guilty. Right. So we have to ask that cage questionnaire. Then E is eye opener drinker. Eye opener drinker are those where they have gone from the crucial to the chronic phase, where the client is mostly intoxicated rather than sober, because the body wants more. Body is highly dependent. So that means the minute they wake up, they need one shot of alcohol to keep going. They call them eye opener drinker. Cage, CAGE. Now, so if a person has two, that means person has a problem with alcohol. Okay. Another thing is the audit test. Right. Later on, when you can go through this, you can go through the net and you will get all these questionnaire. Okay. Alcoholic use disorder tests, where questions are there and the person answers. Right, so they will know about the different levels and the different zone, and we help the person at the different zone that the person has. That is audit, AUDIT, alcohol use disorder test. Okay, now, so feedback from this we share with them so that they understand and we motivate them. Okay, then once they are motivated for change, right? So we enhance the motivation by doing the MET. Now next, emphasis on FR. Okay, the R, emphasis on personal responsibility. No matter how much a person wants to help, okay, if a person who drinks wants to change, right? They need to take responsibility on that. That's why one of the principles of MET says support self-efficacy. That means they need to be responsible. Right, I told you responsibility is what? Responsibility is the ability of a person to respond in a situation. So if they are responsible to bring about a change in them, that means we help them. It is their race, it is their change. So they need to take more responsibility and accountability. Thus, they are able to maintain well. Okay? Now, A, clear advice to change. That means we have assessed, we have sat with them, we know these are the areas that they have problem, and we help them. Okay? We try to give them better skills or better advice that will help them to bring about a change. Now, a menu of alternative change options. I told you, if just assessing and not helping them to change that. Right, remember positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement? Right, to bring about a change, we reinforce. Okay, if anything is maladaptive, we suggest these are the menu for you to change, and the person take responsibility on their own to opt that option to change the maladaptive skills or behavior with the adaptive one. But it is the duty of us who help them to give the menu of all the alternative for change options. Again, the therapist empathy. I told you we need a lot of empathy. They will be resistant, okay, we still have to empathize them. They will continue to slip after we have done. Some of them they stay sober for 2-3 years, again they slip. Some of them they stay sober for a few months, again they slip. Some of them they stay sober one day, again they slip. Right. Every time they come, we have to have a lot of empathy and we need to empathize them. And though there are a lot of resistance, we roll with it. Okay, facilitation of client self-efficacy or optimism. We need, I told you from the beginning, MT doing handling a person with substance use disorder, we require a lot. They require a generous dose of motivation, generous dose of enhancement. We need to continue to motivate, continue to enhance their motivation, continue to build on their coping skills, continue to raise that optimistic thing in them. So the more optimistic they are, the more self-efficacy they have, the better they will stay, and they will be able to abstain from the addiction. Okay, this is one. Now, another one, which along with this, another one, psychodynamic therapy. Psychodynamic works inwards. Psychodynamic comes from the ego-super-ego relation. And over here, what happened? A person who gives the therapy or the counselor help in facilitating the client insight and understanding of the problems. Right now, why is there? I told you, psychodynamic therapy. What happened? Every action is because of the personality that have the ability growth that the person has, the conditioning that the person has, and understanding how they cope. So all that, to understand this, you need a close relationship, client-therapist relationship, where psychodynamic therapy helps the client to have more insight about themselves. If they don't have insight, that means here, if they don't understand how do they see, how do they perceive, how do they accept things, it is very difficult for them to understand the problem. So, if they don't understand their own problem, from where does it stem? Even if we change the symptoms without treating the cause, or without handling the cause, it is very difficult. So most of the time these persons are not able to do. That's why under psychodynamic, we help them to understand themselves. So if they understand, better cognition, better change in behavior. Okay, now next, marital and family therapies. Marital and family therapies, we all know, again go back to the biopsychosocial model. Once there needs to be a balance between all these. If there are imbalances in these, it will definitely lead to many unpleasant consequences. So most of the time we have seen, when we have studied the phases of the pattern of use of alcohol, if a person is married, it will definitely bring about a lot of disharmony in the marriage and a lot of disharmony in the family. So most of the time, in order to help them, we have to understand they need the marital therapy, and they need to also, some of them, the whole family needs to come for therapy too. You will study about family therapy, you will study about psychodynamic therapy, okay? After this, I will teach, in the next class, I will teach you about the psychodynamic, how does it help, and how CBT help, so that you will understand why it is important to understand what CBT has and why psychodynamic therapy and why these therapies are important to bring about the change, or to bring about the optimal change, the optimal psychosocial well-being of a person who wants to change or wants to come out from addiction, that means the addiction. Okay, so the marital and family therapies, what does it do? It examines the role of the importance of family and social support, okay, in the addictive process, and marital behavior therapy may be particularly effective. Okay, now another thing is, since I told you, they need a lot of motivation, they need a lot of enhancement, they need generous dose, and sometimes alone it is difficult for them to stay out. So what happened? Most of the time, these alcoholics, they link themselves to AA group. Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay, there are a lot of AA. Now, what do these AA do? They reach out among the alcoholics who is willing to change, and then they help each other and they support each other to stay sober. Now, from where does this AA? Just a bit in brief, I will do. You can go, you can refer articles, you can refer many literature. There is plenty and number you will get. Now, AA stands for Alcoholic Anonymous. If we study substance use and we don't understand what AA, that means our objective to understand the substance use is incomplete. Okay, Alcoholics Anonymous AA was founded in 1933 by a stockbroker, Bill, and a physician, Dr. Bob. Okay, now who founded this? AA was founded in 1933. Now what happened? Every organization has their own philosophy. Okay, you know what is a philosophy? Okay, now, so the basic philosophies of Alcoholic Anonymous or AA is that of reaching out to other alcoholics to help everyone stay sober. Why is it needed? Because we have seen in the change model every step of the process of change. There is a high risk of a person to relapse back or to go back into the use of the substance. Okay, so in order for a person to stay motivated, to stay to maintain the abstinence, right, and not to go back into relapse, so they link themselves with the AA. So all the alcoholics come together and they help themselves stay sober. So now let's see. The philosophy derived from personal experience of Bill W., an alcoholic who one day on the verge of relapse to drinking. Okay, please understand this. Who one day on the verge of relapse to drinking realized that he had to speak to another alcoholic in order to stop himself from drinking. So the other alcoholic that he found to speak to was Dr. Bob. Right? So they helped each other. They motivated each other, and they are able to stay sober, and that they are able to the relapse is being prevented. That's why they have the AA. They started the AA group. Okay, the rationale was published in 1939 as Alcoholics Anonymous, also known as the Big Book. Okay, if you will, the Big Brother. If you will recall, Big Brother of the addicts, they used to have at 10 o'clock. Then that hall too, right? So they have something like this. Now, what is there? Most of this, let us go briefly on these. The famous 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'll just read through. Let's just go through one by one. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4. Made a searching and a fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7. Humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continued to take moral inventory and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Okay, 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. I think you can relate to this because in the therapeutic session, in the community session, where in hand care, they always pray that serenity prayer. Right now, 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. Right. So basically, the AA, they publish this one so that it helps them. They are able to motivate each other and they're able to help each other stay sober and maintain the addiction process, that in the change process that they are heading. Okay. I told you the assessment, they do a cage questionnaire, the audits, as I have explained. So what they do? So what do we do? What do we do? We will just study this. What do we do here as nurses? Okay, apart from all the physical care, apart from all the normal psychological care that the person needs, the main one, okay, they have a lot of risk for injury. We have seen a lot of effects, okay. So what do we do? Risk for injury, so we have to take care of the safety. We have to take care of safety means physical safety, mental safety, right? Or when they are there, because some of them, if they are psychotic, they are not aware, right? So we have to. They have a lot of injuries, so we need to take care of that. Now, ineffective denial. There will be a lot of denial. Ineffective denial related to their abuse. This is very pertinent and very prevalent on all the person who is abusing substance. They will say, no, because of this, no, I take this because of this. I take this because of this. Just, I told you, no, justification, rationalization. It is so good with them that they will argue with us, they will resist us, right? So we need to understand, so they have a lot of this. So we need to understand them, right? And we have to make them understand the awareness. They need to be aware of their problem. Once they've come to the acceptance, then we help them to handle the problem. Now next, ineffective coping. Ineffective coping because they have poor coping skills, poor coping strategies. Right. Their coping strategies is not the adaptive one or the effective one. That's why definitely, that's why they keep slipping away, right? So we motivate them, we empathize with them, we assess what are the coping strategies, we change the maladaptive coping strategies with the adaptive strategies. And I told you, family process will always be disrupted. Why? Because of the effect of the substance use. So they will have a lot of dysfunctional family process. So for this family therapy, we bring them because family support is needed. And remember, when we do family, this you may not do over here in hospital, but when later on when we will go to community psychiatry, when we will do house to house, you will get many with this, and you will find so many psychosocial needs of the family. So a dysfunctional family process is one of the psychosocial needs that every family who has an addicted home will always ventilate or will always express. So how do they go and how do they handle? We need to help them. Okay, when we will do family therapy, that time you will be able to understand, apply it, right? So if the addict belongs to a family, right? So that's why every Saturday people come for family therapy. Yes, every Saturday they come for family therapy. Why? Because they have to understand side by side the individual CBT of a person, Side by side, they have family therapy. Thus, in adjunct with the CBT of a person, the family also support the person. So, with better support, better family support, better overall the holistic support that the person gets, right? Thus, it improves in the self-efficacy of a person for they are able to maintain and they are able to sustain in the addiction. Okay, so this now when we have to evaluate a person, what do we evaluate? Most of the areas that we need. Let's go through these questions whenever we need to evaluate a person who abuse alcohol. One, has detoxification occurred without complications? Right? Yes or no. So depending on the yes or no, our intervention also will take place, right? Two, is the client still in denial? Third, does the client accept responsibility for his or her own behavior? Has he or she acknowledged a personal problem with substance? Four, we have to try to evaluate these questions, because if we do not evaluate the answers to these questions, it is very difficult for us to help a person improve in the self-efficacy support. It is very difficult for us to help the person stay in the change process. Okay, now four, has the correlation been made between personal problems and use of substance? 5. Does the client still make excuses or blame others for use of substance? I told you a lot of denial. They would say, oh, because of this, I was sad, so it triggered me. So I was able to stay sober. Then again, I slept. Right? So now, if they make excuses or if they blame others, that means that responsibility is not there. Remember, friends, we need to build on their personal responsibility, taking more responsibility, taking more accountability to bring about the change in themselves. Okay, so we evaluate. The next 6. Has the client remained substance free during hospitalization? 7. Does the client cooperate with treatment? Some they are willing to change, some they don't cooperate. Right. So, so we checked on this question. 8. Does the client refrain from manipulative behavior and violation of limits? I told you, when the reward is so strong, they can be very manipulative. Right. So, has the client refrained from these? 9. Is the client able to verbalize alternative adaptive coping strategies to substitute for substance use? Has the use of these strategies been demonstrated? Thus, positive reinforcement encouraged repetition of these adaptive behaviors. 10. Has nutritional status been restored? Why nutritional status gets hampered? We have seen what it does, especially with thiamine deficiency. Okay, does the client consume diet adequate for his or her size and level of activity? Is the client able to discuss the importance of adequate nutrition? 11. Has the client refrained free of infection during hospitalization? We have seen they have a lot of thrombocytopenia, right? And they have a lot of leukemia, right? So is the client able to verbalize the effect of substance abuse on the body? Does the client verbalize that he or she wants to recover and lead a life free of substances? So we need to keep evaluating all these questions time and again and discuss the feedback with the client depending on their answer, so that we help them stay motivated, we help them stay sober, and we help them stay substance abuse free. Right. So you can refer to these books. You can refer to Thompson, Stewart, Fortnash, or you can refer any of the textbook. Right. So safest amount of drink, 0. This is at any age. So with this, I end the alcohol. In my next class, we will be doing the other substance like caffeine, amphetamine, all that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, students. I hope you have understood. If still there's any doubt, we will be discussing. Have a wonderful day.